Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jai, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's special edition, we are hosting the EULA Ad Hoc Elections Committee. EULA is the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas. In September this month, EULA is going to be hosting its 47th General Assembly. At the same time, they're going to be having an elections. And so we are in conversation tonight with the group that's going to be conducting the election, and that's the EULA Ad Hoc Elections Committee. I have the coordinator of the group, Reverend James D. Barclay. Reverend Barclay, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Dennis, thank you for hosting us.
Also, a member of the Ad Hoc Committee for the election is eminent person David Flomo, who's joining us from North Carolina. Mr. Flomo, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much, Dennis, for having us.
In a special way, we want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Focus on Liberia. This is where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. EULA, the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas, is an umbrella group, a group comprising all Liberian associations in the Americas. And so when EULA is having something, we as an institution right here in the diaspora find ourselves duty bound to do whatever we can to promote and bring this activity to the people. And so we are glad to host the Election Commission tonight, or the Ad Hoc Elections Committee. Once again, gentlemen, welcome to Focus on Liberia. We are glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me start with Reverend Barclay. Just your opening statement. I know currently you are the Secretary General to the EULA Board of Directors. And want to welcome you, and just a little bit about yourself. Both of you, this is your first time on our show in a special way. We give you our water and say welcome. But let's start with you, Mr. Barclay. A little bit about yourself that we want my viewers to know.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jah, and I want to congratulate my colleague, Honorable Flomo, for joining me during this interview. My name is Reverend James Barclay. I hail from Liberia. I have been in the United States 19 years. This month will make it 20 years since I've been here. It has been my passion to promote everything that involves Liberia. And my attention has been drawn to working with the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas because it serves as the umbrella organization of all Liberian organizations in the diasporas. Having said that, I live in New Jersey, Pleasantville. I served previously as president of the Liberian Community Association of South Jersey. I also serve as the secretary to the Fellowship of Churches of Atlanta City and vicinity, being one of the 3 pastors from Africa, and I serve as an executive committee member. This gives me enormous exposure to things that happen in America. I was elected to my district's Board of Education in 2015. I served as an elected member for 5 years, and I stepped down. I'm a product of the University of Liberia, my alma mater. I acquired a graduate degree from Capella University's School of Public Service Leadership, and I enjoy serving my community. I am here tonight because EULA expressed the desire to deliver election integrity to its members. And my colleagues found it necessary to elect me to lead a group of capable gentlemen and ladies that will steer the election. And I'm proud of the group that I work with. So tonight I'm here to inform Liberians that EULA is turning the curve, and we are going to make that case tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mr. Flomo, I know you serve as the current vice chairman of EULA Council of Eminent Persons, and that's the group that is comprising all former presidents and former board chairman of the board of directors for EULA. Again, and you are also a member of the ad hoc election committee. Welcome, and just a little bit about yourself that my audience will know you a little more.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Jai, for the opportunity to be here with you tonight. My name is David Flomo. I live in North Carolina. I've been in the U.S. for quite a while. After 10 years, you no longer see exactly how long you've been in the U.S. But I came to the U.S. Purposely to escape the Civil War back home after working for United Nations, and I left to come down here with my family. And since I've been here, I have been involved with Liberian community organizations for a very long time. And I started with my chapter, the Liberian Organization of the Piedmont, here in Winston. I served as president, and we were then members of EULA, so that made me members of the National Leadership Council at the time. Besides that, my first encounter with the union was a delegate to Chicago for the All Liberian Conference that was chaired by the Rainbow Coalition, Jesse Jackson. And since then, we're talking about 20-some years, I've been around the union for a very long time. I served as second vice chair of the board of directors for the union and as chairman of the board of directors for the union. Besides that, I work on various committees of the union. I chaired the 2009 Constitution Review Committee that was in Atlanta, Georgia, and Decatur, when we review and revise the Constitution of the Union. Since my retirement from the union, I worked for my county association. I served as national president, and that was a couple of years back in 2015. I relinquished the position. Now I had to go back again to join my fellow former members of the board of directors and national president of the union when we founded this great organization in 2008, known as the EULA Council of Eminent Persons. The EULA Council of Eminent Persons are distinguished leaders of the union who serve as national president, completed that term, serve as board of director, completed that term, are members of this great council. Basically, we serve as advisor to the union. We provide help when needed, leadership. We help with conflict resolution. Again, here we are when they have the emerging conflict with the election process. They sought the assistance of the council, and the council were able to intervene. And here we are with our committee of the union elections that will be supervised by the council. So I'm happy to be here and to share with you exactly what we intend to do to make sure that we have a transparent and accountable election, and working with the great Reverend Barkley, who is the chair of this, the coordinator of the Election Commission. He's no longer secretary. He had to relinquish his position as secretary of the union to take on the responsibility. So we're happy to be here, Jai. Thank you for having us on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Flomo. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia. Our guests tonight, members of the EULA Ad Hoc Elections Committee. So, before we get into our discussion about the elections and about the EULA General Assembly that is slated for Columbus, Ohio, I want you to give my viewers just a little bit information about EULA. Okay, we stated something a little bit, but then let me start with you, Reverend Barkley. When we say Union of Liberian Association in the Americas, we have people who still don't know about the union. So tell me, what is EULA?
Okay, Honorable Jai, I want to thank you for such a brilliant question. As the name goes, the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas. This is the umbrella organization of all Liberian organizations in the Americas. And I must admit, I think in the past, the union might have defaulted on public relations. And this is why you mentioned that there are some who are not aware of the activities of the union. But let me just bring you to light about some of the things the union has undertaken. Let me backtrack from the Ebola time. The union participated in helping the people of Liberia. The COVID-19 time, currently the union is still assisting the people of Liberia with oxygen supply, etc. The union represents the aspirants in their aspirant for the retainment of their citizenship in Liberia. But unfortunately, these activities are not being disseminated properly to the public. And I'm just overwhelmed with joy that you have hosted us for the first time. And I know this is just the beginning because we are going to advocate for information about the union's activity to be put out there.
ULA started in the 70s, right? So, and you talk about the Association of Liberian, the umbrella organization of all Liberian organizations. Mr. Flomo, tell me about those organizations. You're talking about what?
Like you rightfully said, this union started in 1974 as a student group, and it has grown over the years after assisting at the student organizations. Right now, especially when the war started back home in the 90s, more Liberians migrated to the U.S. So the union decided to extend its hands and its umbrella to these various groups. When we talk about association, the union is basically organizational based on organization. What I'm saying, we have chapters at various state levels, and also county organizations are part of the union that can seek membership. So that's why we call it the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas. And we embrace county organizations, we embrace chapters organizations, and we encourage more chapters to develop at the state level to be a part of the union, because the union is the official sport organization for Liberians in the diaspora. The union is the only organization recognized by the State Department as the advocate organization for Liberians in the diaspora and back home. So we've been having these chapter-based and organization-based as members of the union, and it continues to expand as we speak. So that's why we are the Union of Liberian Association Americas, open to chapters, open to county organizations.
So currently, if we say, what is the size of this union? How big is this umbrella? Who are part of it?
Basically, right now, I think the national president can speak to that because I'm not in the leadership right now. But it spanned to a couple of states, a lot of states. Like I said, when I was there, we had North Carolina was a part. We had Georgia was part of the union. We have Jersey, we have Philadelphia, we have Massachusetts, and we have Rhode Island, and most of the states in the union were part. And I learned recently that, in fact, county organization has begun to participate. I think SANU, if Mr. Bagley can correct me, SANU is also a part. So it's as expanded to several states around the globe. I think California is also a part. So we hope and continue to work that we'll be able to cover the 50 states in the United States as part of the union.
And Reverend Bagley, before you come in, what I want to add there is why would any organization, being a county organization or the state-based organization, why would any of these organizations want to be a part of the union?
Okay, you want me to come in now?
Yes, sir.
All right, before I even address that issue, let me just recognize some of the committee members that are not here with us tonight. Okay. If you won't mind. I have myself, Honorable Flomo. Then I have Dr. Atemos Gay. He's the Vice Chief Coordinator. I have Honorable Fale Kukone. He's the Secretary to the committee. And I have eminent person, Roberta Rashid. I just want to recognize these distinguished personalities for sacrificing their time to serve alongside, because it is a tedious thing to work on a committee when I'm chairing. They have no time to sleep. I text them in the middle of the night. I text them 3 a.m. if I have new information, because we are working against time to deliver the expectation. Having said that, back to your question, I think the union has been undertaking projects that benefit all Liberians without discrimination. This covered the period of past presidents, like issues of DED and TPS. The unions have been advocating for the rights of Liberians. But like I said before, there has been lapse in the PR mentor, because I'm surprised to learn that there are some Liberians that have not gotten information about the union's activities. So personally, I got attracted to the union during the initial peace process that was hosted by the Eminent Council in Atlantic City. I was privileged, proud to be a member of the union, to have hosted that meeting setting. But I'm going to advocate hard for the union's activities to be broadcast to Liberian organizations, because if the union is incentivized, people will be attracted to it.
Yeah.
So I agree with you for that lack of knowledge, but we are going to improve on that aspect.
All right. Let's go to the reason you are here, and I want to also inform my viewers that this is focused on Liberia. My guest, Mr. David Flomo, is a member of the EULA Ad Hoc Elections Committee, and Reverend James Barclay, the coordinator of the Ad Hoc Elections Committee. So first of all, you are Ad Hoc Elections Committee. EULA is an old organization, so by this time, why do we have Ad Hoc Committee instead of actual EULA Elections Commission? What's going on?
I can come in as members of the council. The Ad Hoc Committee of the union came about when there was conflict brewing within the National Administration, the Board of Director, and Election Commission. That was one chair by Monsieur at the time. Monsieur was chair of the Election Commission. She was empowered by the national president to continue her tenure as chair. In the process, the board was also working along with her and began a request for all election documents, and that she didn't comply. So the board of directors was able to have a vote of no confidence in her and recommended to the national president for her to be removed. And the National Leadership Council, which make of chapter president, said that her removal was very illegal, and that was brought before the Council of Eminent Persons. As our role, like I clearly stated, we help the union to resolve conflict, and the matters were brought before the council. The council were able to look into the matters and found that the three organs, the organs of the union, that's the national administration, the board as well. Therefore, to resolve the matter, there will be a need for a neutral body like an Ad Hoc Committee that will be supervised by the Eminent Council. And that recommendation was made that the Ad Hoc Committee should be made of the three organs of the union. That is one representative from the National Administration, one representative from the Board of Directors, one representative from the National Leadership Council, and two persons from the Eminent Council. So that made up the 5-person Ad Hoc Committee. And our responsibility to ensure that the election is conducted free and fair. And right after that, the Ad Hoc Committee will be dissolved and the union move on. So that was the reason for the Ad Hoc Committee. But usually the union have had election commission within the Constitution to conduct free and fair election.
Thank you. Reverend Barclay, you want to add something? Because I'm coming with another question that says, I'm not here to probe into the case. I just want clarity on this one, because if there were confusion and you determined that the executive council the board and then the election commission, did they too? Or so if their removal was illegal, why weren't they meeting? I'm just curious.
Right. Okay, let me just come in. We will not be really in the process, but what I want to say here is that I want to give recognition to my predecessor, Monsieur. She did a wonderful job. She performed well previously, as the record shows, because I have most of our work before me here. So I think the organs of the union went through a tedious process to arrive at a decision that set up the committee. We were elected to this post, and so you should understand how tedious it was. But the best outcome of it was everybody was in agreement. The leadership council, the board of directors, the national administration, the M&A council, all four organs of the union were in agreement, I can almost say for the first time in the union's history. So that is a plus from the union. And I will want to explain further that we are introducing new methods into ULA's electoral process, which we are going to go into later on, that the union has never experienced before. And this will eradicate all the doubts that have been existing as an outcome of ULA elections.
And what because ULA has been going through a lot, and I must appreciate that because at a time it became very murky if we were even going to have this election. So I must thank you for stepping to the plate and having to resolve the issue. That's why we are here tonight. But what has been done that this doesn't happen again? Even it might not be within your purview, but if you have knowledge of, I mean, how can we not repeat this again? What has been put into place?
Okay, go ahead.
The Constitution clearly states what should be done. The national president appoints the chair of the election commission, and the chair of the election commission goes to the board, confirm, and begin at work. That is within the Constitution. And whenever the term of the election commission expires, the president writes the chair to continue the chairmanship, or if the chairman no longer there, they can appoint new chair to continue. So it's within the Constitution. So, like we said, we're not really late to get in the process, but those are some of the issues that came about, and we said that whenever it happens, we don't want it to be repeated. If you want the chair to continue, you have to do the appointment officially, not by any other means, so that we have records. So, but it's clearly stated in the Constitution what needs to be done. And after that, I think it will be a lesson learned by all parties and the union as a whole, that we follow the letters of the Constitution and do what is right, so that we start having our community to conduct election. But like Barker said, there was agreement so that to save the union, and the National Leadership Council, the Board of Directors, and National Administration agreed to the recommendation of the M&A Council to form this the AHA committee by great people of reputation who have served the union before, have gone through the leadership ranks and know what needs to be done. So I think the process is working very well, and we have the check and balances in place that will avoid the repetition of what happened. But the union is on course. I can tell you that.
Thank you. So what's your term of reference?
Let the chairperson go ahead.
Well, our term of reference follows the guidelines of the Election Commission as spelled out in the Constitution to deliver a free and fair election. But our body itself our functions will end on the 17th of October when we certify and do certification of the winners. Then our term is over. And then it will be left with the incoming leadership to appoint a new election commission.
So the Monsieur, who's the former election commissioner, has started the process. So where did you pick up from based on what she started already, and where are you now?
Well, currently we are at the finishing lines. We have secured contracts with election engineering companies to help us for the first time to supervise the elections. We have secured tentative agreement with other companies that will supervise a virtual election if the need arises. So we have covered a lot of ground. At this time, beginning tomorrow, we will be tabulating the list of delegates to begin the delegate certification process. So we are ahead of it. But like I said before, our predecessor did a wonderful job, and we always want to recognize her because she covered most of the grounds, and we are proud of the work she did. But we have been charged now to complete it and to elevate it to another level.
Walk me through your election timetable, because I understand election is what, the 18th?
Yes, all right. When we took over, we made a couple of adjustments based on the delay that was created as a result of the discussions that were going on between the organs of the union. So our predecessor, the former commission, had a deadline of August 26th for the submission of chapter and federation delegates. We extended that to September 7th, which is tomorrow.
Okay.
And also we have August 28th, which was the submission of poll watchers by delegates. We extended that by 2 days to September 9th. And between September 9 and September 17, we are still holding discussions. We plan a meeting with candidates tomorrow to discuss the possibility of holding a televised debate to stimulate electors to make up their minds to go to Ohio. So this is where we are. But we are on course to have our final debate in Ohio on the 17th. We are on course to hold the elections on the 18th. There is nothing in our way now to cause hindrance.
And just to add to that, your question, we did not reinvent the wheel. The former commissioner certified all of the candidates will pick up from the last debate, which was scheduled July 17th. That did not happen because of the impasse that was going on. This is why we have the 17th July debate substituted for a live program, a live debate,
a virtual one
on some of the social media. And so from there, like he regularly said, we'll move a couple of these dates, but they're all within the timeline. So nothing changed. We just pick up from where she stopped, where she and her commissioner stopped.
So the elections are part of the overall General Assembly.
Yeah.
What else is going to take place at this General Assembly, and who's in charge?
The national president of the union, Vama Fofana, is in charge of the General Assembly. He's the presiding officer, along with the executive members of the union, as including the board. They're responsible to handle the 47th General Assembly, registration deliberations, and all of that. Then later on in the afternoon, the election commission, the Idaho election commission will come in and conduct the election right after the deliberation. So we just part of the process that will be going on in Columbus, Ohio.
All these things should cost money, right? Especially elections and delegates, and then printing ballots and all that. Do you have a budget, and how are you getting this money? How much is it going to cost in the first place, and how are you raising the money?
The chairman will rightfully say that, but I think we got a contingency budget that will handle the major components of the process. So he might not disclose the total amount, but I think we've been, like the union, it's been a lot of sacrifices, but with this section of the union, the election is always funded by the national administration. Go ahead,
Reverend Barkley, come and let the election commission declare our asset.
Thank you very much, Honorable John. This election is going to be one of the most expensive elections in the history of the union. Why I will not be disclosing here, because I have to submit my voucher, so I will not jump ahead of the boat. But what we've done is we have secured contract with an election company called Honest Ballot. They will deliver 3 voting machines to Ohio with 2 technicians, one technician, one supervisor flown from New York. the machines will be set up. We just satisfy you. You go to the machine the same way you vote in American election. You will vote in ULA election the same way. So there is no room for cheating or for doubt. Once the election is closed, the machine tabulates. Give us the result. I put it in my briefcase. I go to my hotel. It doesn't change anything. Why? Because I want you to come back in the evening on time to hear the result. The machines will maintain our records for X amount of time, months. So if anybody has an issue, we pay the company, but they will have our records, and they will be disclosed. Their name is Honest Ballot. They will be made public. Everyone will know about them. They do elections in America. So this is the first time that this will be introduced.
Yeah.
I mean, can you afford it? Is it not expensive? I mean, why go through this? If it's really expensive, can we afford to pay for that?
Yes, it was one of the things we took into consideration, and then we made a brief budget hearing on that, and we made adjustments on other areas that we should have spent money that we think we can sacrifice as a committee, and that we can personally honor right. We made those sacrifices just to accommodate this aspect of the election that will bring credibility to our electoral process. So there were cuts in the budget that were made.
And well, go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, you might think it's expensive. It's not some astronomical number. It's a number that's affordable, and it's a dollar that is affordable.
Do you mind to share that dollar amount or no?
That dollar amount cannot be disclosed on this show, but we had a meeting with the National Administration, the Board of Directors, and they concurred and approved of the amount. It's reasonable amount, so it's not something that will not be done. So we have the assurance from the National President and the Board that will make that amount available so that we can conduct the process free and fair and ensure that we all leave Ohio with the new president and the new leadership.
Will there be report after it? Because will this amount be made public later on?
Oh, yeah.
And after the election, will we have reports?
Yeah, there'll be a report. Yeah, there'll be a report.
In fact, maybe there will be a disclosure before the time. Just we are not the proper people because we are still accountable to umbrellas within the organization. Okay. So it will be their portion to release their total budget for the convention. So we just don't want to do that, but the figure is not a secret. Yeah. No.
The National Administration will be able to probably say how much they spend on the election. So they'll be the appropriate authority to say how much it costs for Honest Ballot to conduct the election. So.
Yeah. Honest Ballot. That's it. HONEST, Honest Ballot.
Yeah.
They have a website?
If you can see, we can send it to your viewers. You can research them. Their phone numbers are there. There are people that are in the business. They know how to do it.
Can you put that up again?
Okay.
The other way. All right. Right there. Honest Ballot. Okay. All right.
Don't go ask how much it costs to conduct July election.
No, I want my people to, those viewers, to go and ask them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and recently, let me just say this to you. We just we made a budget hearing last night. So tomorrow I'll be signing the formal contract with them. Once the contract is signed, then I can release the figure to you because I'm sure now it's a contract.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not releasing it yet because anything can happen. Yeah.
Thank you. And one question I have, and is something in my mind now is ULAB probably, I'm not sure, but you can correct me, it's a 501c3 organization. Are these elections necessary? I mean, that because there's so much problem, there are all sometimes confusion, we want to be transparent. Do we really need to have these kind of elections? It may not be the question may not be for you, but you can share idea with me too, because you've been in ULAB for so long.
Yeah, I think it's necessary because this institution, whether 501c3, 501c4, they have leadership, they have structure, they have constitution. And these positions that need to be filled, those are not appointed positions, those are elected positions. Therefore, to fulfill the constitution, the elections should be held. That is the very reason why, in all of their constitutions, they have election commission to conduct election for the various positions. Whether expensive or not expensive is meeting the constitutional mandate of the constitution of this very organization, and ULA is of no exception.
And if I can just add to that,
Sure.
there are some amendments to the Constitution that are being discussed. I'm sure they are going to cover issues concerning election and some of the concerns you just raised. It's just that, like I told you, I'm not privy to start to release them, but there are some amendments, and I hope you'll be at the convention to partake in those amendments, because the union has gone a long way, and there's room now, there's need to revise some of the governance system.
You have an idea of some of those things that need revision, or not now?
No, definitely not now. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the ULA elections, the ULA General Assembly slated for September 18, 2021 in Columbus, Ohio. My guest, Reverend James D. Barkley, he's the coordinator for the Ad Hoc Elections Committee, and Mr. David Flomo, eminent president of ULA, is also a member of the committee. So let's look at, you were talking about your committee members earlier. Tell me about those committee members and what are their roles?
All right. What we did among ourselves when I was elected as chief coordinator, I informed my colleagues that we are going to be overlapping in our functions because we have limited time. However, we'll be meeting a structure that dedicated responsibility to subcommittee members within the committee. For example, we have eminent persons, Flomo and Rashid, who are in charge of the conduct of electoral activity at the convention because they have been in the union for a long time. They are also charged with the responsibility to draw up the format of debates. So we dedicate our responsibility to them. Then our press and public relations, we give it to the vice chief coordinator, Dr. Gay, and the secretary, Honorable Kone. So each committee member has a responsibility, but we continue to overlap functions to ensure that nothing is left behind.
And if you're watching us and want to participate in the discussion, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791403. If you are outside the United States and you are not able to reach that conference number, you can call our WhatsApp number 612-433-4365. And this is for international callers only. More on the elections and on the General Assembly. Give me some, if you have the information on exactly what's going to happen, cost, hotels, the days of arrival, and everything that you know about this General Assembly that you want my viewers to know, please, it's time to share it.
Okay, again, as members of the Ad Hoc Committee, we are not privileged to all of the information you asked for, but those information flows through the chapters. But I know that the arrival date will be on Friday the 17th, and it's a meet and greet. If you look at the brochure, the poster that have been posted by the National Administration, that will be a meet and greet. They got the address and everything there. And we will have the vice presidential and the presidential debate at that Friday night. Then Saturday, usually the general format of the General Assembly is registrations of delegate to the General Assembly. And then they go ahead with the formal opening by the president. They do deliberations, and sometimes they have sections that have been the general format, unless they might have changed. And then from there, the lunch come in, and from lunch, and we proceed to the election. And as usual, depending on chapter streams, most chapter they cover the expense for that delegation to the General Assembly, and weak chapters, and they appeal to their members to sacrifice from their pockets that we have somehow have done for over 20 some years with the union, and we have to deep in our pockets, and it's so good that we have wives and family members that are allowed to do that. But that's how the process is. They have hotel listed. If you look at that brochure, so they have the general information that the public can look at. They have hotel. Yeah, I think they got hotel listed. You can call the hotels and make a reservation, and they go from there. So that's it. But the program details is being developed by the National Administration, I guess, in consultation with the board and the National Leadership Council.
Robbie, wanted to add something?
Yes, I just wanted to give some specifics in the itinerary. Like my colleague said, on the 17th will be Friday. It will be a meet and greet. It will be at the Christ United Methodist Church. Address is 1480 Zetler Road, Columbus, Ohio, 43227. Saturday the 18th will be the General Assembly. Election and ball will be at the same location. The address for that is 610 Lancaster Avenue, Roanoke, Ohio, 4306. And we have a couple of hotels here. I just want to give the name out for people that are scouting. We have Holiday Inn, Express, and Suites. It's in Columbus East, Roanoke. And we have Holiday Inn, Express, and Suite is in Columbus Airport East. And we have Hampton Inn, Columbus I-70E, Hamilton Road. So these are some of the details of events at the convention.
And you can check the EULA website, eulab.org. Most of the information there as well.
Okay, yeah, and we can put that up for our viewers to look at that information. That is eulab.org.
Yeah.
So if you want more information, please contact this website. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to get some of our viewers' comments. And if you still want to call and be part of the discussion, please call the number on the screen there. That's in the text that is scrolling across. That number, is a teleconference number, or you can call our international line, which is the WhatsApp number.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jai.
All right, welcome back to Focus on Liberia. At this time, we're going to read comments from our viewers, and if you want to be a part of it, please don't hesitate to call in. Reverend Barkley, are you good there? This one comes from Robert Hargrove. Say, greetings, Pastor James Barkley. Dan Dennis is watching. Roberto Rashad, who's also a member of this, is watching. Here's a question from Flomo. I live in Rhode Island. Do you have an office here?
The office of the union in Rhode Island?
Yes,
Rhode Island has been part of the union, so that information can be sought from the national administration or from the local level. But Rhode Island has had a chapter of the union. I remember we have convention in Rhode Island when I was in the union. So the union have a chapter. Usually the community organization seek membership into the union. So the community organization is the chapter of the union within our community. So if there's a Liberian organization in Rhode Island, I would ask our viewer to contact the president to see whether they are chapter members of the union, and he can go from there. But there's no definitive EULA office in each of the area. Our chapters are our operations in the various states.
Thank you. Isaac Cetro said, honest ballot would do a good job for transparency. And Isaac also have a question here. How do delegates get to know the delegate list if these lists are not shared by the chapter members? Reverend Barclay, he said that question is for you.
Well, beginning tomorrow, we will start to tabulate the list of delegates. Of course, the list of delegates is public information. So we will make the public know. First of all, we are starting from publishing the list of chapters, because the reason for which we are not giving you a definitive number of the list of chapters, we have requested that from the administration. They have the legal authority to advise the electoral body of who or what the chapters of the union are. So we'll be receiving that. Once we receive that list, we'll make it public so that everyone will know about it before the convention. Likewise, when we have received a list of delegates, it's going to be published so that everyone can know if there's anything wrong with the list so that we can fix it before we get to the convention.
And what is let's talk about delegate list and chapter list. What is the process and why do you need a delegate list? Someone who doesn't know the process of, when you say delegate list, what are you talking about here?
Well, like my colleague said, each chapter has the responsibility to send in the list of delegates that will represent the chapter. And those members of the chapter that are called delegates are entitled. They have the right to vote at the convention. So that's what we refer to as delegates list. But we are not going to be dealing with delegates list until we see a chapter list.
Right.
Take for example, you can just develop a list and send it to me. It will be sitting with me. I have not submitted any list to the secretariat because first of all, I want to verify the chapter listing. Based upon the chapter listing, we start to tabulate the lists that are qualified.
Right. And how you get the chapter listing and how many delegates are from each chapter or supposed to be coming from each chapter?
Each chapter has straightforward 50 delegates, but that excludes if the chapter has former UDA president, that's a super delegate. If the chapter has former board chairperson, that's a super delegate. So that number excludes, the 50 excludes the super delegates.
And what is the process of getting these delegates? And for chapters, who's going to give you the chapter list? And what is the time frame for that?
The time frame comes out tomorrow.
Okay.
And it's done by the chapter leadership, the president and the officers of the chapter. They get together and compile the delegate list and submit it. So it's the prerogative of the chapter's leadership to do that.
The rules governing this delegate listing, does that rule come from EULA or is based on each local chapter?
Well, let me give you a conventional answer.
Yeah.
Like in my state, the president in my state, Mr. Hayford Japa, does not create the delegates list on his own. Mm-hmm. What he does is he confers with the treasurer and see which of the members are in good standing and that want to go. So there are two criteria: in good standing and want to attend the convention. Mm-hmm. So the list comes from good standing, from the financial committee. They will give my president the list that is qualified. Mm-hmm. Based on that listing, the president will make a call and see among the qualified members, which of them are prepared, are willing to go and attend the convention. That's why my colleague said it requires the input of the leadership of the chapter.
So what is the process? And I'm very particular about this list because these are some of the issues that happen all the time. Let's say a chapter submits a list or through the president of the chapter, right? Is that sound, seal, and deliver, or can people in the chapter say, oh, no, my name is not on the list, why, and contest that list? Is there any process that list can be revoked, can be withdrawn, can be amended, or whatsoever?
That's what, and that's what the transparency come about. The chapter leadership should take that responsibility and should not make the delegate list a secret. I mean, they should have a meeting. That's what we used to do in North Carolina. we used to have a meeting and we select our delegates, and the list is compiled and submitted to the Election Commission. So that responsibility falls on the leadership of each chapter to ensure that the selection of delegate lists is transparent and open to the membership, so that when the lists are submitted, they are lists that represent the chapters. So those who in the chapters should hold their leaders responsible to make sure that the list is visible, is transparent, and they know who all have been selected as a delegate to go. So that's the process. And usually what happens is that, let's say a chapter get 100 members. They submit the chapter roster along with the delegate roster, because then you can look at the chapter roster. Okay, David Flume is on North Carolina. He's a member of the North Carolina chapter, and he's a delegate. So the delegate list is the one that will be used for the voting. So the responsibility falls on the leadership again at the various chapter level to make sure that this list is transparent. It shouldn't be anything hidden.
Is there any recourse if that doesn't happen?
Okay, let me just reverse the process a little bit. This process begins with membership showing interest in the running of the organization. That's where it begins from. But our people have the tendency of leaving the organization's management with the leadership, and they give you a blind eye. So sometimes leadership are carried away with the authority that they have, and they do their own thing. But having said that, there is a key issue I want to announce here. There's another list that they call alternate list. That alternate list, if it is sent to us, it's not a delegate list, but it says that, for example, Honorable Jah is a delegate, but he is not well, so he didn't make the trip. Then someone can come from the alternate list and replace Honorable Jah because the person already, the name has been submitted.
Okay. Let's Don Dennis let's get more comments here. Don Dennis say every chapter has its own process of selecting delegates. Therefore, the process is not the same for all states.
No.
But the list that is submitted to the Election Commission, can it be challenged by people from the chapter? And what's the process? If they feel that, okay, my name's supposed to be there, my name is not there because the president knows I'm not voting for his or her person, can anything be done at that point, or you should leave your own way go?
Well, look, I'm like what Don Dennis said, Honorable Don Dennis said, this falls back on the chapter's procedures. Now watch this. Each chapter within the union has a registration on its own. So they have their own bylaw and they have their own constitution. So that one thing we have to take into consideration. But if the union is employed to resolve that issue, of course, they have their own mechanism in handling that to bring about peace and harmony. But frankly speaking, the chapter makes the determination. The chapter says the rule how it resolve the conflict.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Let me still read some comments here. This one from Roberto Rashid. You have to be a due-paying and active member of the chapter for your name to be placed on the delegate list. And also, there was a response to the one who was asking for the Rhode Island chapter. Contact for Rhode Island chapter is Danlet Norris at that email address. Okay. There's a question for you from George K. City. Why is it difficult for EULA to unite all of the Liberian County organizations?
Again, we hope that it can be done, and we're sure it can be done. But like since the 90s, we have proliferation of county organizations, and most of the county organizations got our own problems as we speak. It started with one county organization. Right now, you have a breakaway county organization. Some of that 2, 3 right now in the process. So that have been our problems as Liberian from no level. But we have always said that county organizations should seek membership into the union, because the union is the support organization for all Liberian organizations in the diaspora. And we want their full participation so that when we collectively decide what we intend to do here in the diaspora or even in Liberia, we're doing it with a collective effort and support of all of our citizens in the diaspora. So that have been the trend. And again, most of the county organizations, like I said, they have their own leadership crisis going on, not following the Constitution, that's breakaway. And so it makes it difficult to see which of the representation of the county organization you're going to include in the union. But we hope that they can resolve their issues and their problems and remain focused and be one united county organization and seek membership in the union so that together we will be able to help our country and help our membership in the U.S. and do what is right for them and for our country. But the union would not go and start investigating what's going on with the county organization, but the union always appeal that they should be unified. When they are unified, it helps the union to seek membership and for us to move forward.
Thank you. Do you have any election guidelines or stuff like that is published that people can look at?
Yes, we have election guidelines. It's published. It's on the union's website.
Okay. What is how will post-election conflicts be resolved? What's the process? Because sometimes after elections, people have some problems. What is the process in resolving those kind of issues?
All right. Election issue come in two folds. Any complaint, first of all, let me just begin by stating that the portion of the Constitution that deals with election conflict resolution was never revoked. It's still in active standing, and we are going to follow it, but it has two folds. If there is a complaint brought against a candidate, the committee will investigate that complaint. But if there is a complaint against the committee as a whole, then the board will investigate that complaint.
Okay. River Says Pro is late to the discussion. He said, River Says Pro, I've heard of this group. I'm thinking he's talking about EULA, but don't know their functions. So River says, if you are talking about EULA, let's give you the EULA website. Is eulalib.org, and you can find that. You can find their functions, their role, and even some history.
Yep.
Now we almost at a time 1 hour mark. Is there anything you wanted to talk about your elections, about EULA General Assembly that I have not asked that you want to talk about?
I can go with everything you go last. The chairman will wrap it up. Okay. First of all, Dana, thank you for hosting us tonight, and also my chairman. Before I leave, I just want to thank the leadership of the national the council, the EULA Council of Eminent Persons. This group started 2008. We got incorporated 2009. And currently, our leadership chair by Dr. Jesse Cooper. I'm the vice chair, and Dr. Lamptey is our secretary general. And this organization started with prominent former president and board chairman, Arthur Watson, Maria Cavalry is our first female president of the union. Emmanuel Wetty was a founding member, and we have been a group of former leaders who have been able to stand aside and support the union and resolve conflict, and we are available. And this is our second time again intervening in the EULA crisis. The first was during the administration of Kessley, and we peacefully resolved that crisis that brought into power Gisler and his leadership through a free and fair election in Maryland. And here again, we are as members of the council to supervise this process, to ensure that we have free and fair elections so that our union can be peaceful and continue to move forward. So I want to just thank the council, the eminent council, for what they have done and continue to do for the union and for our country. And this current leadership have been very supportive of our work. Former President Rashid and I, working with the AHA committee to ensure that this process is free and fair, provide some guidance and support, and as part of the as commissioner as well. So we want to assure you all that the union family, especially with the introduction of the new process of this voting machine process, it's going to make this process very transparent. It's going to make this process very, 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 very accountable to the incoming leadership. So I just want to thank you all, and I thank members of my council. I thank the leadership of my council. I thank the EULA family, the National Leadership Council, the Board of Director Administration, and members of the AHA committee for a job well done. We still got a few more steps to go, but I think we're getting closer, and we are definitely sure that this process is going to be free and fair for the good of the union. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much, Mr. Flomo. Reverend Barkley.
Okay, I want to thank you first, Honorable Jah, for hosting us. But I want to recognize the support we received from the national administration headed by Honorable Vama Fofana and the chairman of the board of directors, Honorable Afrasia. I also want to recognize the support we received from the chairman of the Eminent Council, Dr. Jesse Cooper. He has been working tirelessly to ensure that we deliver the expectation of our people. I want to congratulate my colleagues for working along with me in going along with this process, and I know I can feel it that we are capable of delivering the task we are given. But I want to close by recognizing the gallant men and women who have put their names out there to vie for positions of leadership within the union. I want to begin by congratulating the Carter, Wilson, Kia team, which is headed by Frank Carter as president, Lucy Wilson as vice president, and the Kamara Grant team, which is headed by Shehu Kamara as presidential candidate, and Maneva Grant as vice presidential candidate. And they have individuals vying for general secretarial position, like Emmanuel Nambwe and Axel Freeman. They are both vying to become general secretary of the union. And we have other two distinguished personalities vying to become treasurer of the union. We have Dr. Will M. Jala and Emmanuel L. Pratt. We have one person vying to become vice president for Northern Region, Alpha Tonga. And for the Eastern Region, we have two candidates. We have Morris A. Mobo and Robert O. Reeves. The Southern Region, we have Dr. Somo Herbert. She's running to become vice president for the Southern Region. The Midwest Region, we have one person contesting, Erasmus William, and we have two contestants for the financial secretarial position. We have Alexander Bazi and Emmanuel K. Newman. To these people, I say hats off to you. We wish you well. You are playing by the rules. We are proud of you, and we hope we keep on the process to deliver the expectations of our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And by the way, we have extended invitation to both camps to come and have not a debate, and to come and have an interaction with us so that we can bring them to the people to know them better. Because if EULA must serve has an umbrella organization, I mean, we need a wider reach, and we need to bring them to the people to make their case. So far, we have received positive response from one team and not so positive from the other, but we'll keep trying. And if you are out there watching us, please come and make your case to the Liberian people, to the delegates right here on Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time coming here to explain and give us details about what is supposed to take place in Columbus, Ohio. I wish all your candidates and everything that you do the best. Until then, we want to say again to our viewers, thanks for watching. Keep your dial set here at Focus on Liberia. This is where we do our best to inform, to educate, and to elevate the discussion. Forget the noise and sift through all the things out there and keep it here at Focus on Liberia. Normally, we end every broadcast by playing the song that says we are all Liberians. Why? Because You may come from Nimba, Lofa, Sino, Maryland, Bombing, River Cess, River G. We are all Liberians.
Yep.
You may be part of Eula or not. We are all Liberians. You may be a delegate or not. We are all Liberians. And you may come from this political party or from this other political persuasion. You may come from one class or the other. We are all Liberians. And it is incumbent upon all of us to do whatever it takes to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Good night and God bless you.
Thank you.
We are Liberians.